Hey there, it's Shauna. Welcome to your weekly astrology forecast for October 22nd. This week is all about discovering something new. We have a full moon and we have some really interesting aspects that are happening with this full moon. So as always, I'm excited to share the astrology of this week with you, and then I have 3 tips for you to make the most out of this week. First things first, on Monday, we have Mercury sextile Pluto. And so this is what I think of as a minor aspect. It's not something that is going to be as highly influential as, say, the full moon or some other things that are happening just for this period of this week, but it's still important. So this aspect, Mercury, thought process, communication, and Pluto, which is about going deep into intense and interesting topics. So this is really about an opportunity to seek out the truth and maybe learning something new and like looking for something. I think of Mercury, Pluto as like digging for something, digging for new knowledge. So that's earlier in the week, and that's something that you can take advantage of if you're doing research or any kind of study. Then on Wednesday, we have our full moon in Taurus. So this is exact at 1 degree of Taurus on Wednesday at 9:45 a.m. Pacific time. And so this full moon is interesting because it's also making an opposition to Uranus. And a part of this also is that the sun has just moved into the sign of Scorpio. So there's a lot going on in this full moon in particular. Full moons in general are always a time of culmination, a time of feeling full, feeling lots of things. Moon is our emotional nature, or symbolizes our emotional nature. And with it being in the sign of Taurus, there's this element around stability, practicality, what it is that you are collecting or building or creating for yourself. However, Uranus is also in the mix here because Uranus is at 1 degree of Taurus. And so Uranus brings new awakenings, surprises. Uranus symbolizes where we shake things up a little bit. So this full moon might feel a little more erratic. And there may be a surprise element to it. So definitely a good time to discover new territory and to maintain a sense of being flexible around things. The last thing that's happening this week is the Sun and Venus will be conjunct. And so that means they'll be together at the same point, the same degree in the zodiac, in the sign of Scorpio. And so this is important because it's Venus is retrograde until I think the 1st or 2nd week of November. And so this marks the midpoint of the Venus retrograde cycle. So you're about halfway through this process of reviewing and internalizing and evaluating things that are Venus issues like values, self-worth, relationships, and also just general aesthetics and beauty. Finances can also be in the mix there as well. So good time to reflect on what's been going on the last few weeks for you. If there's been a lot of reflection going on around those topics, it's good to go inside and to muse on what the real message is, what the root of the external circumstances are. How do you feel about that on the inside? The other part of this is that the Sun and Venus will sextile Saturn. And so I think Saturn adds a bit of stability here, a bit of a calmness to that situation. So it's really like, okay, what is it that you're working on internally is the message here. So I have 3 tips for you. Tip number 1 is to be flexible. And I think this is so important because we have this full moon, emotions are heightened during that time, and Uranus is being activated by the full moon. So whenever Uranus is around, it's good to be flexible, expect the unexpected. Tip number 2 is to look for change. And what I mean by that is to look for ways in which you can change or you're being called to change. Doesn't necessarily mean change an external circumstance, although you may want to. But I think the more important thing here is how is it that you're changing? or how is it that you're being encouraged to change the way that that you approach things or the way that you feel about things. And then tip number 3 is to breathe. I think this is great advice for any time that there is a full moon, but especially when, like I said, we have that Uranus aspect. Breathe and do anything else that you need to calm and soothe yourself in times where it feels like there's a lot going on. So that being said, I have 2 things that I want to share with you. So I want to share with you a poem that I think really beautifully embodies this week's energy. So this is from a book of poems called The Living Room, Poems of Love and Awareness by Samasati. So I just got this, and a super lovely woman, beautiful soul and poet. So I'm going to read for you. This is called Miracles of Love. Being in love led to self-exploration. Saga of liberation from suffering. Being in love led to adventure. Footsteps to meet my inner guide. Being in love led to freedom from the mad craving to be loved. Being in love led to self-love, sheer gift of feeling alive. Being in love is to be feminine. Rendezvous with a new spirit. And so I thought that just really beautifully embodied that Venus energy that we've got going on, the exploration, the Uranus. And yeah, I thought that was sweet. So I am going to pull a tarot card for us. And this is actually a different kind of card. So I'm pulling from this new deck that I got, the Isis Oracle. And so this is providing you with a theme for the week. And if there is a certain topic or issue that is present in your life now, you can breathe and focus on that. Or you can just breathe and relax and think about nothing. Okay. Ooh, this is a beautiful card. So this is Wings of Isis. So these are cool because there's an image on the front and then the text is on the back. And so for this Wings of Isis, you have a special spiritual relationship with the angelic worlds. Part of your soul purpose is to birth angelic consciousness and values such as fearlessness, compassion, and service into this human culture. This oracle also brings you angelic assistance, intervention, and confirmation too. So what a sweet card. Oh my gosh. So I think it's interesting that there's like this angelic kind of vibe going on. And when I think of angelic, I think of angels being this force of protection and guidance and assistance. Angels are also very much associated with unconditional love. And so what I would relate that to this week is that there's assistance and support here for you, and to trust that. Trust that you're supported and protected. So that's your horoscope for the week. I hope that you enjoyed this. If you did, please share it with someone who you think would appreciate it as well. If you want to stay in touch with me, you can follow me on Instagram under Neo-Feminine Astrology. Also, if you are interested in doing a full moon circle and you're in the Encinitas, San Diego area, I'm hosting a full moon circle on Wednesday. It'll be at 7 p.m. So Wednesday at Moonlight Beach, and we'll get to see the full moon rise. I'll have information linked below to that if you want to join us. We'd love to see you there. So that's all for this week. Wishing you a wonderful week, and I'll talk to you soon. Namaste.